Hello guys, welcome to CS Tech Solution. Today's is learn in UI/UX design. Today's is learn as additional ways to enhance high-fidelity prototypes. A high-fidelity prototypes is looks and as a behave the very similarly to final products. And after the editing basic navigations and as iterations, and you can improve it with following techniques. First is add a realistic content as use the realistic text image as a product names price and as a user's information instance of as a placeholders content, and the examples is show in the recent transactions, and as categories is sales and the times as to show, and is purchase and sales as to show in this part as a green colors and as a red colors. Green color to credit the amount and as a red color to debit the amount. Second is add micro interactions as use a small animation to give feedbacks than the user as interact, and the examples as buttons is change than the tapes, and as a heart icons is feels than liked, and as a toggles is move from off or to on, and check mark as appears after as saving, and so these figures as like any videos, and so the this part and this folder has to show all the liked videos, and as check mark as appears as the saving the musics, and third is add loading states, and so what is happens while the content is loading, and the example is loading spinners. First as show as a loading spinners, and second is progress bars, and this show as a progress bars, and the skeleton screens as skeleton screens as to show is this image. Fourth is add a empty state and the designs what the users is see, then this is a no data, and the example is a no expanse set, and start a tracking show the spreading by editing your as a first expanse, and include add the expanse button to and plus sign to clicks, and add the expanse and details to write as expense names, and as a categories and amounts and all as that. And fifth is add errors or the success states, and show the users as what is happens after the actions, and as a success is expense is added successfully, and error message is please enter a valid amount, and this times to add expanse as all the details has to correctly write, and and after as a submit, so the expanse is added successfully messages to show, otherwise as the categories and the amount is any mistakes you write, so the error message to show as a please enter a valid amounts. 6 as a add a realistic forms, make the forms as behave like real applications, as include input validations required fields, error message, as a password disability, sorry, as a password visibilities, as a drop downs selections, and the date pickers. And seventh is add overlays and as a dialogues, as use the overlays for as important actions, and example as a delete the expanse, and give the dialog box as a are you sure, and is cancels, and the delete buttons has to show anyone has to see clicks, and delete button to click as a delete the expanse, and the cancel is not delete the expanse details. 8 is a add gestures as make prototypes is improve the interactives and examples as a sweep between the image, as a drag the items, scroll the pages, as a sweep to details, sorry, as a delete and pinch to a zoom. And ninth is add smart animations to smooth transitions between the screens. And examples, a small expense card can as smoothly as expand into a details expands page. 10th is add a responsive design, as create a different layout for as a mobile, tablet, desktops, and make sure designs work well at different screen sizes. And 11th is add accessibilities, as improve the experience for the everyone's, as considers as good colors contrast, as readable font size, clear labels, as a large touch targets, and a visible focus states, as a simple error message. 11th is add a realistic navigation, is make a navigations as behave like a real product. And for examples as a homes expands, add a expands report and the profiles. And the user should always know as they are and as how to go backs. And 13 is add different user stats, and the design the different situations like new users, as returning users, as logged in users, as log out users, as a user with data, user without data, and the error states. So 14 is add a motion carefully. A motion should is help the user as understand the interface, and the use the animation to show the relationship, as provide feedbacks, as a guide the attentions, explain the changes, and avoid unnecessary animations that is slow the users down. And 15 is a test and the prototype, and ask a real user to complete the task. And for the expense tracker is asked as add a new expense for 500 and under the food categories, and observe whether users can as complete the task as easily. Thank you guys to watch the videos. Please subscribe the channel, on the notification and bell icon.